Welcome to Boxing Fans Talk TV. I'm your host, TDT. You can refer to me as Miss T. You guys seen the thumbnail. Danny Garcia next fight with Keith Thurman or Errol Spence will prove to be disastrous and risky. That's kind of where I'm at with it. No offense to Danny, um, but we'll get into that. But first, y'all know the drill. Let's turn to. Welcome to Boxing Fans Talk TV. I'm your host, TDT. You can refer to me as Miss T. At the top of my hour, we do a water check. I'm at my usual 10 bottles. I don't know. I can't get off this schedule, but it's all to the good because I drank more water today than I've ever drank in my life for these days. And I've been drinking water for a minute now, but when I look at my whole life, I wasn't a big water drinker, so I'm at least proud of that. Here at Boxing Fans Talk TV, we advocate that you drink 100 ounces of water per day. If you're an adult, you should drink at least a gallon a day. That's 128 ounces. And if you're not a big water drinker, at least 2 times out the day, you should drink water. That's first thing in the morning when you get up, turn your engine on. If you think of your body as an engine, and you need water, water like the lube. It's going to help move things along and get your day started. So we recommend that you have 8 ounces of water first thing in the morning before you get into your routine, your morning routine and everything, before your feet hit the floor from getting out the bed. Drink you some water. And then the second time we recommend that you drink your water is at night before you lay down for your final rest for the night. And that is not looking at TV or doing something else. But when you lay down, I don't know how long it take you guys to fall asleep after you lay down, but when you lay down, go on and drink you some water, and then eventually you're gonna fall asleep. And there's a lot of reads going on at night, revamping, recharging, rebooting, and that's what your system is going through. You're cleaning out toxins, and the average person burns between 900 to 1,000 calories at night. So drink your water. It's important. Even the American Heart Association agrees that you should drink water at night. Before you go to sleep, it's good for the heart. Now, I will say when I get information, I'll add it to the queue. Um, I was told that they don't want you to drink water and then go to sleep, but I don't see how it happens anyway. Like drink water and then in the next couple of seconds you going to sleep. Again, I mean that was a fun fact, but you know what I'm saying when you you shouldn't be laying in the bed anyway until you ready to go to sleep, or like you about a lot of us do, but technically I don't think we should be just laying in the bed like all day, but some of us do it, including myself sometimes. But when you get down and you're settling down for the night, and you might watch a program or two before you go to sleep. Drink your water and everything. It's going to help you. Water is a life sustainer. It is hot this summer in a lot of places. Please, please, please stay hydrated. You could go through many bouts of dehydration, and not, it could be severe or very minor or anything in between. But just know that every time you go through hydration problems or issues, you actually do create, that may later come back to haunt you. You could cause damage. So stay hydrated. Everyone, stay hydrated. Even if you don't think you thirsty, if you out and about in that sun, within on the hour, every hour, drink you some water. You know what I'm saying? So that's our water check. Now let's do a little housekeeping. Please, in my most humbling voice I can, hit the like, share, and subscribe. If you've already subscribed, then you're already locked in. But please do hit the subscribe button. And if you're watching me on replay, hit the like and share button. Leave a comment. I do read all of them. I do gotta address these one comments. I don't know who these people are, but I speak English pretty much. And if you write in your comments in something other than English, I gotta tell you the truth. I'm not really deciphering those comments because it's a lot of time and effort, and I got a lot of stuff to do. No offense, but I really don't know what you're saying. So leave your comments in English. Not disrespecting your language or how you speak, but try to put it in English because I can't understand it otherwise. And I'm not gonna highlight your comments and go to a translator. I'm not gonna do all that. But you can also email me at boxingfanstalk@gmail.com. That's boxingfanstalk@gmail.com. And you can be asking me questions. You want me to clarify something? I do have a different show where I call it Finding the Healthy You. We talk about health matters, eating differently than what we used to, and trying to address issues, medical issues. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nurse. I don't play one on TV. But I think about ways that we ourselves, not being medical professionals, can address medical issues that we have. And I can tell you from experience that it is possible. Sometimes I do it so much, I be thinking I'm a doctor, but nonetheless, I know that I'm not. But let food be thy medicine. That's a goal of mine. It's a work in progress, and it probably will be for as long as I live. Because I like to eat the Western diet just like everybody else. Well, you saw the thumbnail. Danny Garcia's next fight with Keith Thurman or Errol Spence will prove to be disastrous and risky. And there's a reason I bring this stuff up because the Danny just had his fight this weekend. He looked good. He did well. He comported himself well. But Danny Garcia wanted to do some explaining on his recent, meaning in the last couple of years of his boxing career. And so some of it came off as an excuse. And I touted it that way. I actually couched it that way. I said, it just comes off as an excuse, like when he was talking about how he felt. The way they explained it, I felt like he was saying he felt a certain kind of way, not mentally. I wasn't clicking that they meant mentally until after his fight. So I'm a woman who of a particular age in my Wendy Williams voice. I could change my mind, and I evolved my conclusion of what he was doing or what they were saying based on what he said at the end of his fight this past weekend. PGH Big Dog is in the building. Was Poppy King says salute Queen T. Salute to you too, King. So you know that there's video clips out there of Angel Garcia explaining how Danny Garcia felt during the Errol Spence fight. And I was like, why are you saying it now? Some 19 months, 20 months later, it just comes off sounding like an excuse. That's how I took it, because that's what made boxing so great. That's what made sports so great. The time that you got to show up and do your sport or your game. And, that's part of the thrill of it, because we know as regular human beings, from day to day, you can feel great or bad. You know what I'm saying? Can you push through it? Can you keep yourself in a state of always feeling great? I mean, that depends on how, what environment you place yourself in, what you consume on a regular, all that is dependent on your discipline, in other words. And if you're disciplined enough to be in a clean and safe environment and eat well, then when it comes time to show up for the game or the sporting event, you're going to do well. And so when he's saying I didn't feel well, I took it like how you felt. I didn't never take it like his mental capacity. He said he wasn't happy, and I know that's mental, but you could be not happy with not being disciplined. I didn't know. But then after Danny's fight, I was like, oh, okay. And what he said was profound. What he showed was profound. And I would say this. It did make me click and think differently, because the journey of trying to stay healthy or trying to make weight and trying to be ready for your fight is, in a sense, traumatic. And it might not get to you the first few thousand times you have to do it, but eventually it'll get to you. You gotta think most of these boxers, they're boxing from when they're a kid. Discipline on a heightened level is a part of their everyday routine when they're 8 versus a regular 8-year-old not even getting to that point in their life where they gotta exact discipline that level until they grown. So when you start when you 8 and then you're like 30 something, that time eventually you're gonna crack. Just as a regular human being, we all will. And sometimes it cracks in the middle of your career. It could crack when you're not fighting. It could crack in a fight. And so, or leading up to a fight, you just can't shake it. We know that fighters like AJ said it before his fight, before he lost to Andy Ruiz. He said he had some anxiety. Let me tell you, anxiety and panic attacks and stuff like that, they real. They're real. And I know for myself, I didn't understand or appreciate how real it is that it happened to me. And I'm telling you, I don't care who you are, it's going to happen to you. You know why? Because life happens to you. Shit happens. That's why I know if you live long enough, God will, it's going to happen to you. PGH Big Dog said Danny is food at 154. He looked fine, but he fought a one-legged fighter with limited skills. Okay, King. He said, damn, Spence gave Danny brain damage too and had him crying at his next fight. Spence is a real beast out here. See, PGH, now I got to quiver with you on that. You be drawing some weird conclusions, but I hear you. I hear you. I would tell you this, PGH. Spence gave Mikey Garcia a concussion. They definitely did that. Now, if they come back and fight again after You can't really attribute it or give them the flowers as like saying you retired them or this, that, and the other. But you can get. I'm not going to quiver. I said I quiver with your conclusions. I'll with it, but I'm not gonna. I can't really debate it because if that's how you saw it, that's how you saw it. I would look more carefully and see if I see it that way. I'll think about it some more. You definitely giving me something to think about because I would tell you this: Danny Garcia is the reason Keith Thurman went on his decline. I don't care what nobody say. It was that fight that started Keith down to. At this point, he got to really address his medical issues that he might have had lingering. But after fighting Danny, oh, it was not a question, not a doubt. He had to address those things. So Danny Garcia is a force to be reckoned with. I'm a fan, but I didn't like him. His dad saying, "Oh, we was at half peak. We was at 50%," and I was like, "You saying this now? You and Errol Spence, the better man won that night. Okay, he wanted it more." As I looked at that fight, in my mind, I felt like Danny was hesitating. I think that was his biggest problem. I've seen him more active and more pushing forward than he did with Errol Spence. If you want to say it was Errol Spence's power and his onslaught of punches, I can't argue with that. For some reason, for whatever reason, he was hesitant. And I think I don't know if even if he was himself, would he have beat Errol Spence? I'm not saying that. But I'm saying that the fight would have been different. Maybe it would have been closer. Maybe he could have beat him. I don't know. It definitely would have been different. But I do say he wasn't doing himself a service by hesitating. And that's what I felt he was doing a lot in the Errol Spence fight. Now, look, it looks like Garcia won some back from a few of his past opponents. After his fight this past Saturday night, we know he stated he wanted a rematch with Keith Thurman. We know he did. He said it in the ring. He said Laura or Keith Thurman. He felt like that the fight they had was too close. And some people who looked at it might can feel that way. And now he could redeem himself with the rematch because he's in a better place mentally and physically. So I don't know if he's kind of saying or alluding that even with the key fight, he wasn't in the right mental headspace. I don't know if he's saying that. I'm not saying he did. Keith Thurman is down for whatever. That's what we do know. Keith Thurman is down for whatever. He's like, shit, run me. These are some of the quotes that Keith Thurman had to say. He said, Danny could never pass the Keith Thurman test. He also said, I beat that boy and I wasn't even at my best. Because, he always said he had bone spurs during that time. And then he added, I had bone surgery because of the bone spurs. He don't believe it's enough in it for Danny to be at 154 unless he actually get a championship. I'm reading between the lines on that one. I'm thinking Keith saying what you just said, PGH, that at 154 Danny is food for them other guys. Because out of all the divisions, y'all, 154 is deep. Talk about a bench. They tight. Charlo is the lead. Jamel Charlo is the lead of that division. So Keith basically saying, I don't think it was worth him going up to 154 because trying to fight those guys up there, you're gonna be at the bottom of the barrel. Now I'm putting words into Keith Thurman's mouth. I'm telling you I am. And but that's how it sounds to me. So I'm telling y'all these are not facts that Keith said that, but that's how it sounds to me. Like when he said it ain't even worth him being at 154. You know, he don't believe that it's worth it unless he do get a championship. Well, shit, if he get a championship, then it was worth it, right? So keep that. That's why I say I read between the lines. He basically saying what PGA said. How PGA said he's food. He's food for that division. Aaron Smith, welcome to the building, King. He said Danny gonna get put back into depression. Uh, you know what? Depression is real. I really do believe, and I don't know. You guys can reflect on your own lives. When you young, you're full of life. You think you're invincible. When you get in your 30s, you still have that youngness with you, but it's like life gets real when you're in your 30s. Do anybody agree with that statement? That life is real. I don't care what you're doing, how much money you got, where you live, whether you poor or rich or wealthy or middle class, whatever. Life get real in your 30s. It gets more serious. Can we all agree on that one? The pressures that you have to be accountable for things in your life. You're the king of your house. You got your family depending on you. You got to provide. Everybody's depending on you. I think Jerry, the guy that comes in my show all the time, he said it best the night of the fight. I mean, he explained it beautifully. As he was saying, as a man, the pressures that y'all put on yourselves and the things that y'all got to be accountable for and reliable for, and the people who are dependent upon you can become overwhelming. And at times you have to take a moment out and cry out, and I believe that. I know that a lot of men have bravado and pride and everything. There's nothing wrong with that. But there has to be a healthy balance. You have tear ducts for a reason. I don't know how or when, it's probably way before any of our time, that it became a thing that men can't cry, men can't be sad, and you're human beings. You can be sad, you can be glad, you can be bitter, you can be mad, you can be angry. You all the emotions that are mostly attributed to women, you guys have the same opportunity to have it. In fact, they will tell you, medical folks will tell you that women live longer because they know how to express all those emotions. You guys stifle yourself when you don't. So, this notion of teaching your sons and then their sons and then their sons, men don't cry, men don't get sad, men don't depressed, men don't, it's not logical to even think that way, because you have those emotions for a reason. You were built to have them, and you have tear ducts for a reason. They're not there. If they were there just because you were, a baby, or when you're a little boy, and then after that you ain't supposed to cry, then guess what would happen? They would close up and they would disappear out your body, right? But it don't. We have tear ducts all our lives. Things can happen in your life that can make you get to that point where you break down. And I'm telling you, living a boxing life, a real boxing life, will do that to you. It will happen to your favorite fighters, the best fighters that you think are the best. It will happen to all of them. Floyd Mayweather cried. Haven't we seen Floyd cried in the ring? What was he crying for? What was he crying for? Because all the sacrifice and everything he gave up and not was participating with his peer groups and things like, the clubbing, Floyd seemed like he had his finger on the pulse of clubbing and being everywhere where young men supposed to be, in strip clubs, whatever, mowing down girls, whatever. He seemed like he didn't miss a beat, but he was missing a beat. He was missing a beat because he could never do it like his peers were doing it. Floyd has never drank, never smoked, or he doesn't do those things. And guess what? Most people his age, when he was younger especially, were doing those things, and he abstained from it. He abstained from a lot. And so sometimes when he met adversity, like I remember the Ricky Hatton fight. I remember the Gotti fight. You know what I'm saying? Before the fight, he sounded all confident, seemed like he was, he was a man. You know what I'm saying? But after the fight, when he won, he broke down. And so just like you can break down from joy, you can break down from pain, the pain of losing. And I think that's what was going on with Danny Garcia, to be honest. I think when Keith Thurman took his O, and then Shawn Porter coming there, and I'm sure Danny Garcia felt like he was a better boxer than Shawn Porter. Some people may agree with that. But Shawn Porter is a different animal. Like he fights differently. He's not traditional. I always akin Shawn Porter to, playing football. Like you gonna play football with Shawn in that ring. He gonna be all over you and stuff. And Shawn headbutts. I don't think he do it on purpose, but it's his mauling attack is what brings out those type of things. So, it was too much for a person like Danny who don't lean on you, who just straight box with you. That be flat footed, but he punches with you and all that. Jerry made some excellent points about this fight this past weekend that Danny returned to boxing. But a lot of us was asking the question, is he ready for 154? And without even going by what Keith Thurman said, a lot of us was like, we was kind of more leaning to what PGH Big Dog just said. Food for 154. Aaron Smith said, that's why God is supposed to be prevalent in your life so that everything will be all right. Not perfect, but all right. I completely agree with that. A fellow Christian. There you go. There you go. I completely agree with that. He probably do, but sometimes, Aaron, it do get the best of you because we living here on earth and dealing with man problems. And when I say man problems, women and men, here on earth. And we're not perfect. We're not meant to be perfect. So, Danny, I think the loss of it all. I think all the sacrifice that he does and then to turn around and lose got the best of him. And it's like an accumulation. When he fought Spence, he may feel like that after the fight he made, when he's reflecting back, may have felt like, I hate to say a person is scared, so I'm going to say hesitant. A lot of fighters out there are hesitant when it comes to when it comes to Errol Spence. They know he's the goods. They know he's the truth. They know he's strong. They know he don't have no quit. Like he will march you down. He won't stop. I don't. A fighter can feel like, what we got to do to stop this nigga. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people can be hesitant in having the urge to fight him, and then you fight him, and then you, after the fact, you realize, why did you do that? He's a man just like you are. You didn't, and then, or you can reflect back and say, I didn't give my best. Why? Because of what I thought of Keith. I keep saying Keith. They must gonna fight because I keep saying Keith. I didn't give my best because of what I thought of Errol Spence. And that's probably some things that weighed in on him. Like if I could have just, I could have did a little more. I could have, and after all that, and then putting in this sacrifice, and then you start doubting yourself. And boxing is not one of them sports that you should be having doubts. You should be confident in your ability and what you can do and what you think you're gonna do every time you fight. Even though, as Aaron said, we're not perfect. We can lose. You can lose, but take it with a grain of salt. You're not meant to be perfect every day, every minute of the hour. You're not meant to be, and you're gonna have your ups and downs, and you just gotta know how to deal with it. And until that day come when you have to face it, when it do hit you, and you have anxiety or panic attacks, or you're not feeling that great or happy, or you're not happy, you're depressed or whatever, that's when it hits you. You know what I'm saying? And then now that you done had that experience, you should be better off for it. That's how I look at it. Now that you then went through the storm and came out on the other side and you see it's not the end of the world, you should be better off for it. So now that he didn't dip his toe in the water, Danny, he feel like, run them shits back. Well, we heard him say Keith Thurman, but the questions posed to his father, and we know his father and his father ain't speaking out of turn or anything when it comes to Danny. He's basically saying if we'd have felt better, we think we could have beat them. That's what his father was saying. But they were the kind of questions that they were asking, because I don't want to be misleading here. The kind of questions they was asking Angel, those were his response. The questions led to a response like that. He not down in Errol or anything like that, because I don't want you guys to think that that's what Angel was doing. But he basically saying the truth as he know it. If they would have been in a better place mentally, because boxing is mostly mental, then they feel that they could have beat Errol Spence. Earl could have been feeling like half power or less than 100% mentally, because he was coming after that car crash or whatever. So you never know. It just all you can say when you boxing is, I like that saying when they say you were the better man tonight, you're the better woman tonight, or you wanted it more tonight. And you have to accept that. Think of the serenity prayer. You know what I'm saying? But when Keith says shit like, I don't think it's enough for him to be in 154, like, how did he say it? And he said, it's not enough in it for Danny. I don't know what he meant by it's not enough in it for him. Unless he's saying, you're going up to 154. You're going to fight these monsters and they're going to beat you down. So what's in it for you? Unless you can shock the world and shock all of us and fuck around and get a championship. But the only way right now to get a championship is if you go up against Jermell Charlo. And I don't think that, in my humble opinion, that Danny is ready for that. Now, if Jermell dropped belts and all that and is scattered to the wind, maybe there's one or two people at 154, or maybe it's several people at 154 that he could probably outbest on any given night. But we don't know that. That fight Saturday didn't show us that. Sensory Pictures is in the building. What's poppin' King? He said Danny don't want to see Earl again. The only reason he wants to see Thurman is because Barrios can take him to the 12th. He's food now. Yeah, and people can be thinking that Thurman has fell off. I personally won't think that he fell off. And I think he did a number on Barrios. I think Barrios did the same thing that Mikey Garcia did. He was determined to stay alive to the end. Stay in the game to the end. But the disfigurement of his face tells the whole story. You don't see Barrios, popping up in nobody feeds or anything, talking like he's ready for his next fight. We gonna see in the future how derailing, if it's not derailing, or how derailing that fight with Keith Thurman was. And then I take it factor that he was kicked out of the clean boxing program off of that Keith Thurman fight, but it was done after the fight because he didn't comply with VADA testing. So, that right there makes me raise an eyebrow. I can't say what Barrios did, but maybe he did something extra to help him stay put, stay in the game. I don't know. Maybe he was sipping on some tea. I don't know. But he wasn't complying with the VADA testing, and he got kicked out. That, those results came out after their fight. Aaron Smith said, right on, Miss T. We all go through something. Death, disease, losing jobs, losing dollars, breaking up with a significant other, losing a 4.0 grade point average, etc. Then he got man up. He got to man up. Indeed, he do. And he will, but it's playing in front of the world. I don't see no shame in it. I personally don't see no shame. And my first instinct was, why are you making excuses? Why are you saying that? Errol beat you fair and square. You know what I'm saying? But I've since evolved, and I don't think Earl has, but it's not Earl's fault. I'm still rocking with Earl on his assessment of their talks back and forth because Danny, with them saying they could have won or he wasn't at 50%, this they think Earl got the best of him. I am rocking. I can see why Earl see it the way he see it, and I don't see nothing wrong with anything that Earl has said in response. So let me be clear about that. I'm saying that I changed my mind a little bit, and my first instinct was the same instinct that Earl had. But when Danny spoke at the end of his fight, I was like, oh, okay. Okay, they was talking about him too. And then I thought about what all a boxer has to go through just to even prepare for a fight. That will break you down. That shit right there, time after time, year after year, months after months, day after day, week after weeks, will break you down eventually. You just don't know when it's coming, but it's coming. In my humble voice, you guys hit the like and subscribe button, please. Basically when you step into my square circle, hit the like button and subscribe. Sensory said any fighters that makes it to a decision believes he could have won the fight. I don't know. I don't know Sensory. I don't know Sensory because some fighters be straight up honest and they be like, oh nah. Because a lot of fighters do say that they trying to save face. This is what I mean by your bravado and your ego can get the best of you. And ain't nothing wrong. I mean, we know it's coming like that. We know that some guys is going to, have that type of response. But I've seen to the contrary, guys that be like, no, he got me. He got me. I just, I couldn't get it going. You've heard fighters say that too, you know. But Keith, like I said, Keith don't believe that going up there is enough for him unless he can pull a championship out his ass. And maybe Keith believed that that'll never happen, not in that division. But to answer the question, Keith explains he is ready to go. He ready to go right now. He just waiting on Danny. And Danny just had a fight. It's up to Danny how long he want to have a layoff and when he want to come back, if he want to do one more fight this year. But that's what Keith is saying. Look, I got to get a fight in. Shit, let's make it happen. A fight between Danny and Keith will do well, especially if they do it at the Barclays Center. I would even suspect that if they did it in Vegas, it depends on where they do it. You know what I'm saying? I got Barclays in Vegas, but Barclays first. They will do well there. Danny is well there. Keith is well there. And their pay-per-view will be good. That will be a good pay-per-view in my opinion, because I think it's some interest to see them fight. We know that Danny came up short in 147, but look who he came up short with. People like a Shawn Porter. Shawn Porter can give anybody fits, and then of course Errol Spence, and Keith Thurman was his first person he took the O to. Um, uh, Being that he just fought, could he get another one in? That's the question. Before the end of the year, that is the big question, and that's what Keith's saying. And he is surprised it took Danny this long. I'm talking about Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman is surprised that it took Danny this long to ask for a rematch. And so I was like, oh, even when they were fighting, Danny was that type to do a contract, don't ask for a rematch. Or Keith was that type of fighter to do a contract, don't ask for a rematch. I always be talking about people like Lomachenko. And I be like, Lomachenko, when he lose, you can already see it gets to him. He's sore losing. We all can be that. I don't say it like it's the end of the world, but we all can have some sore loserness, if that's a word, in our repertoire. But I always just imagine that Keith and Danny and Shawn and them offered rematches in their fights. uh Cesare said, I've also heard them be humble, and then some time passes, and they'll say they won or should have gotten the nod. Yeah, in clarity and in hindsight, you can see where you went wrong, where you could have been better, where and whatever was making you hesitate, all of that dissipates out of you once you've done it. It's like riding a roller coaster, that you're scared to ride. Like you see a big ass roller coaster, you're like, nah, I ain't getting on that one. And then you face your fear and you do that, that slingshot thing. Oh man, it's nothing in me that can make me get on one of them shits at all. But if I ever got on one and then I did it once, I'll be like, going forward will be a breeze because I know what to expect. It wasn't the end of the world. It wasn't what I thought. My hesitation, or people can say fear or being scared, is now dissipated. So, you know what? Let's run it back. That's how I see what some fighters do when they, months or so after they've taken a loss or whatever. Or even now, it's been what, like 19 months, 20 months. That's why it was so weird with Danny and them saying what they saying. Like I was at 50%. I was like, man, you could have said that shit earlier. It's been almost 2 years. You just now getting around to saying it. So that's what made it look weird. Aaron says Spence always tells his opponents to keep that same energy during the fight. He needs to tell them to keep that same energy after the fight. Sister, you doing a good job. Keep up. Gotta go. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you. Thank you for coming through. Make sure you hit the like and share button and subscribe. Sensory said, men don't think like that, sister. They ought to. Not hard to think like that. It just ought to. It just ought to. Because the only the only real difference, and it's a lot of differences because of this. But the only real difference between men and women is what they're designed to do. You know what I'm saying? The different appendages or lack thereof that we have designed to do is designed that way for a purpose. But your brain, your eyes, your ears, they are the same. They are the same. There's no real between the two. Other than you can have a perspective as a male, but you can have a perspective as a girl because we live traditionally and culturally in our societies. We live up to expectations or don't, or die trying. You know what I'm saying? That what makes a difference. But a brain is a brain. Emotional, anything. You men have the same emotions that I have, and all women have. We all have the same emotions, and they all be activated based on whatever situation or issue we find ourselves in. So I would love to get to a point where it's not shameful or men to stop stifling themselves, because I think you hurt yourself inside. There's damage being done, and it can affect everything you do going forward. When you try to hold your emotion, keep it to yourself, or don't release it. It feels good to release emotions. Women can tell you this. We pros at it. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't make you less of a man. Now I'm gonna tell you right now. My daughter, when she was younger, when she used to cry, I used to stop her from crying. I used to make her smile in the midst of her crying. It was the funniest shit. And I used to laugh, but at the same time, it was funny, but it was a method to my madness. Because, when little kids, they always cry, everything's such a big deal. And she used to just, woo, and just be crying. And I know she wasn't crying for something specific, like a reason to cry. And so I would just say, stop all that crying. We ain't crying. We ain't gonna be soft up in there. In other words, we not gonna be crying over nothing. And I said, matter of fact, smile. And she would smile. in the middle of her crying. It would be looking so funny and cute at the same time. But I meant to do that because I was like, I don't need you to go on a campaign of always crying about bullshit. I, for one, trying to raise you, don't got that kind of time in my day. It's too much. And kids, when they're younger, they're more emotional than as they get older. So I just didn't need her doing it because it ain't gonna help nothing. It ain't gonna change nothing. It ain't gonna whatever. You got a problem, man-made problems have man-made solutions. If it's a problem, there's a solution. Get it done. And so that's how I raised her. But now she's a beast at and sometimes I be like, bitch. Yes, mothers can have that the edge of their tongue. I be like, this girl didn't just say that shit to me. You know, hey, it wind up backfiring on my ass. My kids are adults now, so but still the shit that you put in them. But I needed to prepare her for the world she was given, not the world that we will all love it to be. And so now, she's not gonna cry over bullshit. She's gonna face her issues head on, and I see that. I see that, and I'm proud, of her because I was like, she could have been a crybaby. Any kid could be. All kids start out being crybabies. Shit, you don't want to hear that shit every day. While you trying to raise them, it's enough. You got enough on your plate trying to raise them, run the house, trying to make money. Trying to feed them, trying to provide. You don't got time for crying every day. And it was out of that I just I couldn't take the crying. But I don't say she can't cry. I don't say that. I say if you're gonna cry, cry for something real. If you're hurt, cry, let it out. If somebody hurt your feelings, cry, let it out. You know what I'm saying? It don't matter to me, man or woman. I tell my son the same thing. Like it doesn't matter. You know, let it out. There was no rules in my house like only women can cry and men can't cry and but whoop de whoop. You're a human being. Quentin Brandley is in the building. What's popping, King? He said, good evening, Miss T. Good evening to you too, King. Sensory said testosterone. Yeah, but testosterone don't mean you can't cry. You have tear ducts. You have tear ducts for a reason. Yeah, he said men cry. And they do, and they should. I will, for one, will never say it's shameful. Now, I'm going to tell y'all, it is shameful, man. You can't be a crybaby. I don't care if you're a man or a woman. You can't be no damn crybaby around me because I don't have time for that shit. Number two, don't break down and throw a tantrum and cry. And y'all would be surprised how many men do that shit. I know the ladies is watching me laughing like a motherfucker because all these tough men have done that shit in front of them. I'm gonna tell y'all scare the fuck out of us when you do it. For one, we be like, here. We won't give in to the tantrums of our kids, but a grown man throwing a tantrum and crying and going off like that. Oh shit, we give in like, get that nigga. What he say he want? What he want? What he want? I did that once with my ex-husband. Oh Lord, whew. Shit scared the fuck out of me. But then, over time I got over it and I was waiting for his ass to do it again. Shit won't gonna work. Nigga bye. But anywho, you can cry. I don't think it's shameful. I think everything that Danny was going through led up to that. And then factor in, he took L's. And I think that's why everything became emotional to him because when you put that kind of work into something and for it to fall apart and to see, like if you put yourself in his perspective, as he took that first loss with Keith Thurman. Okay, that's one loss. Okay, I can come back with a whoop de whoop. Then Shawn Porter, a whole different type of fighter, comes and maul him. He lose that fight. Okay, all right, those was the top two guys. Okay, whoop de whoop. Then you brave enough to sit in there with Errol Spence, and then you take a loss. So suffice to say, maybe mentally, in his mind, his career is over before he can even accomplish everything he think he wants to accomplish. I'm sure Danny wants to be undisputed. I'm sure he wants to be a multiple champion in different weight classes. And at the rate he was going, none of that was seeming possible. Despite all the sacrifices and the good that he have done, how he helped people, the philanthropy work he might have been doing. You never know. All this shit goes through your mind. Now you got doubt. This is your career. This is what you banked everything on. You don't have a plan B. You wanted to be a boxer. You didn't go to school and learn a craft and this, that, and the other. You wanted to be a boxer. So now you either got to take what you already got, take the lemons you got to make lemonade, meaning the money that he made, which is a lot to a lot of us. But in the grand scheme of things, when you're talking boxers, who have achieved the most, it's not a lot. I love Danny is worth 20 million or whatever. I don't know what he worth. Could be worth 5 million or 3 million. That's not a lot to basically, just ride off into the sunset. Maybe that's how he feel if he's comparing himself to his peers. We know that Errol Spence probably got way more than what they say on Google. So do Bud, way more than what they say on Google. But Danny Garcia, probably not. Probably really close to what he really has. Again, a lot more than everybody else, but not enough to, really be secure. And we got all these people depending on him. His father, his mother, his sisters, his twin sisters, his daughter. I think he had another baby. And then his businesses and the whole Philly is looking at him, you know, his state, whatever. All these people who's depending on him, and he's seeming like he falling short and falling off. So these are the things compiled together that probably led to his mental space. And he probably did feel mentally halfway there in the Earl fight. But to be fair, anybody who hear it is going to take it the way Earl took it. I myself took it the way Earl took it. At first hearing of it, I took the same position that Earl has taken. So I'm not mad at Earl for feeling the way he feels. And I'm to say to Earl, stand on your 10 toes with that one. I'm saying I changed because I know from behind the scenes what a lot of these boxers do. And that shit alone, just the cutting of the weight, if that is all that he was doing, that will drive anybody crazy. Now you guys say the women crazy because we always in this weight game. Game. We're always in the weight game. We trying to lose weight. We're never happy with our weight. And y'all be like, we crazy, but it's a lot of shit we go through trying to get to this so-called imaginary per number because we're never happy with shit. And then y'all be looking at us like, why y'all going taking yourself through that? But y'all don't remember, like, you might say that to the person you love. Why you taking yourself through that? But so many people that didn't love her, criticize her, in regard to her weight. Maybe it's not perfect. Maybe it's too much. Maybe it's never just good enough. And then she takes that shit and she embrace it and take it with her everywhere she go. And then when y'all together, y'all two love each other, and she's still going through that because she's remembering all the stuff that she went through trying to be perfect. You know what I'm saying? And you looking at it like, huh? But you also not looking at it like there's thousands of women or hundreds or sometimes people, a few, several women in your past that you did the same thing to. So one of those persons that put that battery in that girl back that you might not have ended up with, but the girl you ended up with, somebody else put that battery in her back. I'm just saying, it just trying to be perfect with weight will drive you the fuck crazy. Trust me when I tell you. And y'all men are no different. This is the one area where women and men have something in common. Boxers and just women of the world. Because boxers always have to be concerned with weight, and women, unfortunately, make that a big issue in their life and in their mental space. So it will break you down. Trust me. Since we said, I think he was crying because winning that fight meant his part of the plan was fulfilled. It meant that it was the end of the road for him. All those losses that he took was not the end of the road. That there was life after the loss of Keith Thurman, Shawn Porter, and Errol Spence. There was life after that. Now, he definitely put himself in a position to have a bigger challenge because that 154 division ain't no joke. So, he goes there, and Keith feel like he mastered the Garcia print. You know how Mayweather say the May print? He feel like he mastered that. And moving up in weight don't mean a hill of beans. That's some funny shit. He don't think him moving up in weight is gonna change things. Because he basically said you always was a puncher. You can box, and I'm sure Keith shit, I can box. What change? If I beat you then and I got your number, I can beat you again. Now I would tell Keith or whoever else that Danny seemed like he wants these rematches with, be careful in going up in weight or stepping out of your comfort zone because it will be held against you later. And what I mean, can't y'all see Keith saying, yeah, yeah. But if Boost said it, if Boost went up to 154, Boost who? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's almost like some of these fighters who say, yeah, I'll go down to fight you. But then when somebody else asks you, you be like, nah, I'm staying in my weight division. Be careful, you're going to have egg on your face. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have egg on your face. Censor said he's right. Now, what about this rematch with Errol Spence that Angel and Danny seem to don't mind having? You know, first, the debate was about Danny being too small for 154. Angel felt the need to inform the folks that Danny is not that small, that after he hydrates, he's going to be in the ring like at 160, which is good for a 154 pounder. He also said Danny is more like 5'9" than 5'8". And now with the rematch with Earl, there are some stipulations though. Somebody asked, "Oh, you gonna go down?" Danny was like, "I'm never going back down. I'm never going back down." You know, Sister said, "Just talk." Yeah. Danny's like emphatically, "I'm not going back down to 154. I mean 147 to face Earl because that's where Earl is right now. We know Earl gonna move up. Maybe they angling already for the future. If Earl moves up, then hey, we right here waiting for you. You know, we'll be your huckleberry." But Danny and his father are emphatically saying they are not going back down. So the rematch with Earl will have to be at 154 or catch weight. And of note, I don't view nor do I think Danny or his father meant any harm or disrespect in what they were saying. I don't think they putting down Earl or anything. And most answers came from questions fielded towards them. Earl didn't think kindly to the excuse Danny and his father offered up with the mental illness. I don't blame Earl. That was my first response when hearing it. Since the fight, I have evolved and changed my mind. So, however, I don't blame him for his position. Still rocking with him on this one, talking about Earl. Why? Because you can take it either way. You can take what they said to be an excuse. You can take it what they saying to be actually what they're saying. You can take it either way. So that's what I was thinking. That's what I wanted to say about it. When I saw that they were actually interested in a rematch with Earl too, I said, yeah, I guess because what we do know is Earl when he wins, if he wins, you know, and Crawford could win too. I know Q in there said, finally, Miss T said Earl gonna win. When Earl win or when Crawford win, whoever. I think after that, they both moving up to 154. I don't see if Earl lost with between him and Crawford, I don't see him staying at 147. Even with that, I don't see him saying, "Let me go scoop up these belts again." That Bud just dropped. If Bud lost, I don't think he stays at 147. I could be wrong, but I see both of them moving up to 154, win, lose, or draw. And I think Danny is like, "Hello, I'm right here." Angel, he don't think Crawford is a problem for Danny. You know, uh, it's almost like you can almost say he don't think much of Crawford at all. I don't have a problem. That's his opinion. But I don't think he thinks that Crawford is a problem for Danny. I think they fought in the amateurs or whatever. Maybe that's why he feels that Crawford can be beat. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they just really want to get it back in with Earl. I couldn't tell you that angle, but I can definitely say it's an angle to say, if the way I feel now, I'm at 100% mentally. I think I could beat Errol Spence. The way I am now, that is definitely angling for a rematch. That is that. Oh, why say it? Why even say it? So, since we said Earl is going to be retired, the Bud get through with him. Yep. You heard me, Q. What's my ranking on the buddy list now? Sensory picture say Danny Duck, but he showed did since 140, y'all. Since the 140. I don't know what the issue is with Crawford and Team Garcia. I don't think it's a terrible issue. It might be just a camaraderie. I don't think that they be disrespectful to Bud. And if they just challenging him or, telling their opinion, they both in the same weight class. So people in the same weight class at this point, good, because we got social media now and shit be turning way too far to the right with the insults and the devaluing and the besmirching people's character so now it's almost like you got to put parameters around certain people talking about certain people. Like, I don't want to see Chris Colbert ever again talk about a heavyweight in a negative kind of way. It's just not worth it. You can say, I did say he can't say his opinion, but he knows with his inflections and how he talks, it just makes you look coonish sometimes. It's not, to me, that's just crazy. You will never face that guy. So why belittle that person or devalue them? That's my example. And speaking of Chris Colbert, I showed the videos yesterday of Gary Russell telling him he can smack a motherfucker down. And I've seen several videos after that goddamn Gary Russell boy, he is funny as hell to me. Uh, he ain't no bitch, he ain't no punk. He be like, I smack a motherfucker. Don't get to talking outside your mouth. I love it. I love it. I love it. Since we said Bud said Danny was not a top welterweight. Oh, that's what he. That's what got him. That's what got them feeling a certain kind of way about Bud. Okay. Well, hey, there you have it. I was wondering why they feel like they feel. I was like, okay, but okay, I ain't mad. They can have that assessment. But Danny, he want that get back. That's the bottom line of today's topic. Uh, Danny want that get back, and he definitely wanted with Keith because Keith took his O, and he feel like, damn, I could have did better with Earl. If I wasn't. And again, I don't want to use the word scared and fearful, but I will say just hesitant. Now, I really do believe Danny was hesitant when he fought Earl. Why was he hesitant? What makes a person hesitant? And he probably looking back and feeling, beating himself up about that shit, as anybody would. Earl is just a man. just like they are. Earl is a boxer, just like they are. And when you start looking at it differently, you already kind of lost the battle. You already lost the fight before it even started. And so things can happen to you in life that can make you feel that way. Now, we'll say that Errol Spence, he had the eye injury. He came back and fought a top notch person. He had the car crash. That didn't stop him. He fought a top notch person. Um, but we can say that about Bud too. He got shot in the back of the head and went on to do all the great things that he's done, regardless of how people feel about his opponents. And the bottom line is he hit the benchmark. And people can go their whole career and never really hit the benchmark. Like I said, Danny Garcia has a great career, but Danny Garcia has been a champion. I think he was unified at 140, but he's just been, I can say just he's been a champion. I'm sure he won it undisputed because they was talking about some of the fights that they didn't take that they should have taken would have made them a 3-belt champion. So these is like, in hindsight, you can have regrets when you looking back and reflecting on your life. So, anywho, I'm gonna move to the next story. I did drop the link, you guys, if you want to come in and chop it up. So, the other story that I have, Don King up to his usual. Good Lord Almighty, motherfucker, old as dirt, and he's still doing his usual. Daniel Dubois alleges that Don King hasn't paid him from his fight with Trevor Bryant. Don King, old as dirt, y'all. Old as dirt. You know, he in his 90s, just like Bob Arum is. I don't know why some things they don't let go as they get older. If you can't teach you can't change an old dog neither. Um, I really like shaking my head with this one because what is he gonna do with that extra money that he be, rolling motherfuckers for? What I be thinking. You can't take it with you, Don. Him or Bob. Y'all can't take it with you. Y'all some old dudes still doing the old shit. You too old to play these kind of games with young folks. DeBoe's attorney, Daniel DeBoe's attorney, filed the lawsuit against Don King Productions on Monday in Broward County, Florida. And that's where Don King's production company is headquartered. DeBoe say that King still owes him a 7-figure salary from the purse when he fought Trevor Bryant on June 11th in Miami. This is what they're alleging. Questions I have, and this is what when you hear me say to Jerry and others, they do what the fuck they want to do. I when people talking about boxing like this is like etched in stone how it goes, and I be like, no, they do what they want to. Because in this situation, what happened to escrow? I thought that if you're a promoter of some sorts, first of all, you hear Mayweather's explanation. Unless you can advance somebody 3-4 million, you really can't call yourself the boss or a promoter. Well, we know that Don King can do that. So if Don King, won the purse bid, because there was a purse bid for them fighting, and don't he have to put the money in escrow? And if you put it in escrow, you ain't got to worry about them not paying you. You know what I'm saying? So what happened to the escrow? Anybody know? Because isn't that supposed to be how it's done? But here we have a situation where that obviously didn't happen. Since we said, I thought Carl King was running things now. I guess, I don't know. He might be working. I guess, sometimes when your parents want to do their thug dizzle, they your parents. They older than you. You gotta let them do their thing. You can't stand in their way. It's like telling your parent, look, sit in the passenger seat, I'll drive. No, motherfucker, this is my car, I can drive. You gotta let them drive. Because you're taking away their independence and dignity when you do that. So Don King feel like he's still young enough to get in the game and, Flex the old muscles. I'm like, Don, you old as dirt, man. And this is what I say about Bob too. Y'all fucking around with these young boys. You not young enough to, to be dealing with shit like this. Most of your heavy muscle, they gone. They gone. Rest in peace. But like I said, when people be like, "Oh, it's this way or that way," that's just on. No, what happened to the escrow? If you're supposed to put, if that's what promoters do, put shit in escrow to ensure that these fighters are getting paid. What happened to that? Because it didn't happen here. So people can miss me with that. It's like this. That's how it is. It's business, T. But where the fucking business at right here? And then he said, oh boy owes him approximately $463,000. 463,000 and a parcel of 938,000 for the win that was streamed as a main event, a pay-per-view show on King's website. Now I gotta tell you this. Don King is many things. That motherfucker's smart. I know that I'm gonna give Fred his credit. Barbershop Conversation, Fred been saying this shit for a while. Take your own money, with yourself and digitize or whatever yourself. You can do that, and then you break in all the profits. Don King must have been listening to your ass because he did it. A lot of people not doing it, but when people catch on to it, watch how much that happens. They're gonna X these promoters and managers right up out of business if you could do things this way. But promoters and managers, they're very clever. They'll figure out a way. Once they see you figured out a way, they'll figure out a way. You know what I'm saying? To get themselves right back in the top of things. Cesare said these dudes don't know business. They just happy to be there. They don't want no money for real. But I said, boy, King, he's ahead of the game. All I can do is laugh at him. He's an old ass. As he said, only in America, but he's ahead of the game. Who else thought to do it like that? So you mean to tell me every time you watch this shit, you was coming through his shit and his shit only? Who thought to do it like that? Gotta love the mind. Now, other figures have to be factored into what King actually owes, like what he paid to the WBA for the sanction of this fight, the IRS, because he has, as a promoter, if you paying for shit, you got to pay the IRS, whatever their cut is. And the three people you don't mess with, the I, the R, and the S, the net pay at close of the fight, like at the close of the fight, because he got some pay-per-view streams. So he got to pick out a share of that. Brian was contracted to earn $1.7 million, 1.713 to be exact, $1 million. And like I said, King won the purse bid of $3,116,001 for the fight. And he won this purse bid on March 21st this year. King beat out people like Frank Warren, who bid at 2.503 million. And DeBose said King put something on it. King did. At least he did that. He put something on it. He put $475,000 he paid DeBose. So he put something on it. But he ain't put the right something on it. So DeBose is like, shit, I gotta sue you. I gotta cut you, dog. And then when I hear that he sued him, guess what I was thinking of? Terrence Bud Crawford and his suit. See how one person act of bravery can start a chain reaction. You think this is the first time that King did some shit like this? It ain't. But it'll definitely be the last time if DeBose's claims are more legitimate than King's. And then now you got the Bo suing a promoter. He's in the middle of his career. He's active, and he's like, "Fuck that! You owe me what you owe me. I'm not gonna wait." Bud, you see how Bud, started something that's actually brave, honorable, and good for boxers. When people do you wrong, take their ass to court. But you hear some arguments that be like, "Hey, they bigger than big," that like they too big to fail. They've been doing this forever. You think you gonna get them on this? You think you can win against them? You think you can beat the machine? That could be some people argument. But regardless of what that argument, whether it reigned true in the past is the past. We're in a whole new century. And young folks, they is like learning, from the best. And they learning from knowledgeable, intelligent people like Bud Crawford. Look, if you didn't get done right, stand on your 10 toes and get what's yours. Bud ain't asking for more than what he's supposed to get. In this case, Dubois is not asking for more than what he should get. That is the answer. And if these people start winning in court and these judges are favoring them and not letting them, run the clock out, so to speak, or switch courts so the courts can't reward the person what they actually asking for because they don't cover it, that, like I told y'all, in courts can only do what they can do. And when you move your cases to different courts, you can either make that new court have to drop off some of them charges, whatever. Look, I figured he was gonna take offense to that. Jerry said promoters get sued all the time. They rarely lose. Sometimes they do. That's not a reason not to sue. That's all I'm saying. And the Florida Athletic Commissioning is investigating King's handling of it all since mid-June. They've been investigating him. We will try here at Boxing Fans Talk TV. We will try to update and keep y'all abreast of what's going on with that case and any other thing, But this is why you have to stand up for yours, regardless of what used to be, and regardless of how uphill of a battle you're facing. If you're right, you're right. What didn't happen before is we didn't know about a lot of those suits. Now social media can make or break your brand. What a promoter don't want to be seen as somebody who's always getting sued. Now, back in the day, they could have been getting sued all the time. Like Jerry said, Bob Arum could be getting sued all the time. This is his everyday life. This is his everyday routine, what he's used to. But guess what? The world didn't know. Except for a few people close to the situation or in the pocket of knowing. You're part of the group that gets to know things and hobnob with other people who know. The rest of us in the world, we know. And so, an up-and-coming fighter or fighter just coming out the Olympics or somebody, that's a teenager or whatever, they can have aspirations to link up with Bob. But if you keep hearing that a person, and I'm using Bob as an example, if you keep hearing time after time, Bob is being sued, suit after suit after suit, that upcoming fighter will want no parts of Bob. It's safe to say that. It's not a stretch to say that a new up-and-coming fighter who could be the goods, who could be better than Floyd, better than Ali, better than Tyson. He could be the goods. He could be the up-and-coming. There are people born today that's been granted that talent. We just don't know it yet. Maybe they just don't know it yet. But they're gonna see that hear that on social media and they're gonna be like, nah, I pass. All money ain't good money. People think that every person is gonna say, shit, he offering me this much money to sign with him. Shit, I'm rolling with his ass. You can take the poorest person in the world, and most times, yes, you show them a few shiny things, they'll jump on it. But you take poor people in that same predicament and show them the same shiny things, and they be like, I pass. It ain't worth the headache. Dave Chappelle supposedly had walked away from a lot of money at one point in his career, and that he owed to the tutelage that he got from his father early on, so many years before. What would you sell yourself for? Sometimes all money ain't good money. And these fighters coming up looking for a place to call a home at a promoter or slash manager or whatever, they can just weigh their options and be like, nah. If you put in that work, sure you want the big fights. But you might feel like, hey, I want to get paid handsomely for all my hard work. I'm not expecting you to roll out the red carpet for me, but I need to be paid. I can't be doing this work for pennies on the dollar or for peanuts. Some fighters can feel like that, and they'll roll with Matchroom or the Zone. It's way over there. And I'm thinking of fighters like Conor Ben, Eddie Hearn making them a millionaire several times over. But who of note, I should say, has Conor Ben fought? And even when Conor Ben discussing or putting out there who he wants to fight next, it don't seem like he's trying to be the top welterweight. It just don't seem like it. But in the meantime, in between time, while he waiting on that and hoping maybe, then he's making millions doing what he want to do, which is box. And he's fighting people that are not that significant in the time frame that he's fighting them. Chris Algieri was not a significant partner for Conor being the fight. Now I know Errol Spence tied him out as he's significant. No, he wasn't when Errol fought him. He really wasn't. He was not the top notch, whatever. He made a little name, but he wasn't top notch. Conor being asked to fight Adrian Broner when Adrian said emphatically, I'm not going up to welterweight. So what you doing, Conor? But Conor Ben is a millionaire. Same thing with Demetrius Andre. No matter how we feel about him, how anybody can feel about him, Eddie Hearn made him a millionaire several times over. So he don't feel like he was robbed or insignificant or looked over all the way. Like whatever happens with their careers, they can adjust to it and be okay with it because guess what? They earned a handsome keep for what they did and put in when it comes to their career. They don't have no reason to hold their head down and this, that, and other. They can ride off into the sunset. All you can do is try. All of us try when we in our careers. We might not get to the mountaintop, but we tried. As long as we was paid and, earned our keep and was treated fairly on the way up, we good. We good. But if it's arduous, is what you got to do is arduous, on your way up, it'll get you to a point that it can break you down. And that was the main topic about the Danny Garcia thing, trying to understand where he's at right now and what he's speaking about, especially in regards to Keith Thurman and Errol Spence. I would not be surprised. I'm just capping up for y'all. I would not be surprised if Keith Thurman and Danny Garcia mix it up for a catchweight. Keith Thurman, in the clip that I've recently seen, Said he weighs about 165 right now. He says now in his life, he don't try to balloon up like he used to. He don't he tries to eat healthy. He tries to do things right. Why? Because life is real serious in your 30s. All that bad acting, bad eating, abuse of smoking, drinking, whatever, that shit shows his ugly head when you get in your 30s. Maybe somebody else, it might be 36 or 35 before it shows his head. Everybody different, but pretty much you can bet your bottom dollar that when you get 30, shit get real, real. So Keith Thurman is at a place in his life that he gonna continue to stay as healthy and close to where he fights at, just so he don't have to take himself through a whole lot trying to prepare himself for this next fight. And also he wants to be healthy. In order to do that, you gotta feed yourself healthy choices. So he welcomes the Danny fight. I think maybe they will fight at 154 or catchweight. But I don't think Keith wants to go to 154. I think he wants to remain a welterweight his entire career. I don't blame him. I mean, it comes with its pluses, it comes with its minuses. Just like Errol staying at his division this whole time. It's come with its pluses, it comes with its minuses. So that's a fighter's choice. As far as them rematching Errol, unless you go down to 147 at the moment, you can see an Earl fight. But then again, you just never know. There's 10% in me to say, when it comes to the PBC, you never know. You never know. But if Danny Garcia fight a couple of other people at the 154 division and shows himself to be, doing well, when Errol Spence, people like him move up, hey, that's a fight PBC can put on. Hell, Errol Spence and them could do it at 152. Or you can say, Earl, you can weigh 154 or less. You can do 147 if you want. I'll be 154. We just duke it out. I don't know. PBC would not shock me. But that will be a fight that I do want to see. And I think Danny and Earl can do a pay-per-view. I think Danny and Keith can do a pay-per-view. I think both of those fighters will make money. So, and they both, all three of them with PBC. So, yeah, that's good for PBC. They got options now. You see how they move shit around? Now they got options. So, good for PBC on that one. Good for PBC on that one for sure. It don't matter which way you turn. That's PBC all day, every day. But we just gotta get the Spence and Bud fight out the way, and then the sky's the limit. Like I say, even if Earl lose to Bud, he still got options where he can do well and make money. You know, I'm not gonna say I think Bud gonna win. Y'all know that. Y'all already know that. But I don't think it's a wash either way. I think strange things can happen. I think the night of that fight, I would be nervous. I would be like humming, biting my finger. But that's all I have for you. Don King thing, I'm shocked. I'm shocked that at his age, he didn't want to do stuff like that. But hey, Bob Arum show you he's still into that bullshit at his age too. So I shouldn't be shocked. I guess you can't change old guys. Not just that. Can't teach an old dog new trick. You can't change old guys or women. You can't you can't change them. They locked in. They stuck in their ways and what have you. So in my humble voice, please hit the like, share, and subscribe button. Please, please, please. Lean on that leezy when you step into my easy. Basically, hit the damn like button when you step into my square circle. If you already subscribed, you locked in, If not, subscribe now, please. That's all I have for y'all today. Thank you for listening and watching. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.